Hey, beautiful soul, welcome in for another episode of Spirit Speakeasy. Today, we are continuing on with our Archangel series, and we are going to do a deep dive episode into Archangel Michael. If you are new to the podcast or have not been here very long, I hope you know I am so happy to have you. For those of you watching the video version, yes, I am in the office early this morning before my client sessions to record this for you. The Archangel sessions that we've done in the past, if you have missed any of them, are Archangel Ariel, Azrael, Sandalphon, Gabriel, Shamuel, Hanael, Metatron, and Raphael, going all the way from episode 16 to 137. And if you want to check out any of those other Archangel episodes, you can search either wherever you are listening to the pod or my YouTube channel or my website. If you just put Archangel, all of the Archangel episodes will come up, and there are several of them. So I will give you a brief overview of what we are going to talk about with Archangel Michael today, and then I will quickly tell you why it's been so long since we have done one of these episodes. So the format for the Archangel episodes, Healing with the Angelic Realm episodes, that I like to do is go over the meaning of their name, because every Archangel has a very special meaning for their name, a little bit about the history of that particular Archangel, what they're known for, what they can help us with, what can we call on or lean into this specific Archangel for. I also like to give the color associated with that Archangel, as well as any stones or crystals, how you might recognize them or feel them around you, how you can best use them for support. So that is the overview of everything we're going to talk about with Archangel Michael today. He is one of the most interesting because so many people, even people that are not like quote unquote into angels, know the name Archangel Michael. He is used very widely, as you might know, with people who do law enforcement or firefighters or anyone who is in that type of profession. When I did massage therapy, it was not uncommon for me to see some version of tattoo acknowledging Archangel Michael's protection on anyone associated with any type of civil service, military, law enforcement, fire. So that is just skimming the surface of who our Archangel Michael is and what he can help us with. A full disclosure, I'm still working on some coffee. I do try to edit out the sips, but I don't always do a good job. And then I also want to tell you very quickly why I have resisted recording this episode for many, many months now. So every time I have done an Archangel episode, there are so many of you that love it, that love learning about this angelic energy. If you don't know, as part of my story, when I first came into doing any of this spiritual work, I worked very heavily with archangels for the first several years, just because it was so comfortable to me. I had been raised partially in a Catholic system of belief, so I kind of understood what angels were. I had my own experiences with angels. So I've been working with angels for a long time. I really love their vibrational resonant frequency. It's a very high vibrational energy. Now, every time I do an Archangel episode, somehow I get subscribed to lots of lists and emails and people sending me very interesting, sometimes even absurd or offensive emails. Because there are people who have decided that angels are evil or angels are doing something to them. So please don't send me any of those messages. That's not what this talk is about. I'm sure you can find that somewhere else, but it is not what we do here. And the truth is, if that was my experience, I probably would tell you. I might not tell you. I might just not say anything, but it's not my experience. I haven't had those types of harmful experiences. And quite frankly, while I'm not trying to discount anyone else's experience, I don't believe that the highest vibrational resonant frequency that angels bring could be harmful to humans. That's just not their intention. They don't work like that. So perhaps those experiences are coming from something else, maybe a fear. They all certainly feel very fear-based. I would never subject any of you to any of them, but there are some very aggressive messages and things that I will get after doing these episodes. So send me all the love you guys have, because that's why I've been resisting recording this, because a lot comes my way after we do these Archangel talk. But I know it means a lot to many of you. So let's dive in. So let's first quickly, as we bring in the big guns, Archangel Michael, let's quickly talk about what that name means, Michael. It is very powerful, this name. And even though most people have heard of Archangel Michael, not everyone knows what the name actually means. So the name Michael, or in Hebrew, it would be Michael, comes from a Hebrew phrase that translates to a question: who is like God? It's not a statement. It's not a challenge like who could possibly compare to the divine, right? Because the answer is no one. In Latin, you'll sometimes see Michael's name written as Qui Dios, right? Who, which means the same thing. Who is like God? And it's like a question, not like a statement. And the power in that is that the name itself becomes kind of like a shield against ego, against challenging emotions or any version of darkness that you might like to think of, anything trying to pretend that it is more powerful than the light. That is where the name Michael comes in. Who is like God, right? You'll also hear it interpreted sometimes as one who is like God, but really that original meaning is that no one is exactly like the highest power, right? It's part of what makes Archangel Michael so strong. He carries the energy of ultimate truth and divine authority. His name literally reminds us no force of fear or confusion or chaos stands a chance against the light, which, think about that if you're going to send me a crazy email. I shouldn't say crazy. That's not nice. Anyway. So when you call on Archangel Michael, you're not just calling on support or protection or a strong angelic figure. You're calling on the remembrance that nothing is bigger than divine truth, that baked into who he is, Archangel Michael, starting with his name, he represents that strength, that power, that deep wisdom and understanding that nothing can stand against divine truth, divine wisdom, all that is, whatever you like in there. So, the history of Archangel Michael. He is a bit of a celestial celebrity, which is why I think everyone knows his name. Michael has been famous for a long time. There is even, if I can find it, when I was in Portugal in the Azores, there is a giant statue of him on San Miguel in the town square, and there's a picture of me right under it. But he's often seen depicted with like the sword. Sometimes he's seen standing on a demon's head or like an opponent's head because he's the protector, he's the provider. So he has been A-list spiritual celebrity across multiple religions and regions for thousands of years, and more titles than a royal family reunion with him. So I'm going to talk some about his qualities and characteristics and then where he shows up in different faith systems. I'm going to touch on that very briefly because, we don't really, we want to respect everyone's religious beliefs, but I think it's important. If you've been here, I find it fascinating when a figure like Archangel Michael shows up across several faiths. I just find it really fascinating because often faith systems don't agree on much. Okay, more coffee for me. Let me get it in here. This is my second cup for the day. I really am trying to get it in before my clients. So Michael is considered heaven's enforcer. He's known as the ultimate spiritual bodyguard, protector, defender, helper of the one who is weak. It is why law enforcement and civil servants use him as their symbol because they stand with him against harm to the people or to those that are weaker. From early Jewish texts, Hebrew texts, he is the one stepping up when stuff goes down. He's the one that shows up with the sword, he throws down, and then he still has time to offer you peace and protection and to hold the world. So he really does have this recognition, admonishment from several faith systems. He's not just tied to one religion. He is a major figure in Judaism, in Christianity, and in Islam. And while the energy feels familiar across all three, there are some really fascinating differences that I just want to offer you as food for thought. So in the Hebrew tradition and writings, Michael shows up as defender and advocate, especially for those who are facing injustice or hardship, who have fallen on hard times. He is seen as a spiritual protector of the people. In Christianity, Michael is front and center in some of the biggest, like, quote unquote, cosmic battles. He's known as the warrior who defeats evil and leads the heavenly armies. In my mind, it's like cueing this epic orchestra music, da, 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 which I think is a different movie. And is it in Islam, Michael, called, I think it's Michael. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. Please feel free to let me know. Michael's portrayed as not a warrior, but his role in Islam is much gentler, just as powerful, but he's associated with mercy and blessings and nature, kind of like delivering the rain, sustaining life, guiding souls. It's a side of Michael that not everyone hears about in pop culture and certainly in the West, but it shows how expansive and how multi-dimensional Michael really can be. I find him to be all of those things and so much more in my work with him. So let's talk a little bit about Michael as the warrior and the healer. While he is famous for cord cutting and defeating darkness, if you've ever worked with me on any version of cord cutting, you know that I call in Archangel Michael for cord cutting. Exclusively, I work with Archangel Michael for cord cutting. We've done some cord cutting episodes. If you guys want another one, let me know and I will create a new one. The cords have an emotional charge. So it's not a magic trick where Michael can come in and cut those cords and then you're free from all emotions. You need to work on the emotional element and he can work on the energetic element. Just throwing that out there. So Michael has also been called on for eons for healing, especially in Christian traditions, the older traditions. In times of like plague or danger, people turn to Archangel Michael for physical and energetic protection. So yes, he is both the sword and the salve. In current day, many people, like I was saying, who serve as civil servants, police officers, for example, Michael is their patron saint, and they may carry medallions. They often get tattoos, like I was telling you, or carry some charm or symbol or will wear something that represents Archangel Michael. And he is also quite a fan favorite, which is probably why you've all heard of him likely. Archangel Michael is very frequently honored in churches and cathedrals, sacred texts, spiritual writings, rituals for centuries. You have likely seen his image even if you didn't know. He often is shown with like his wings outstretched, his sword raised, or certainly at least holding a sword. Sometimes he's stepping on, like I said, a serpent or a shadowy figure. He's probably the most famous archangel. If you have ever been to like the Louvre or the Met, he is depicted in so much famous artwork, paintings, sculptures. He's often found in fountains and monuments. And if you did the quickest search engine search and put images of Archangel Michael in the image area, you would see much beautiful art and dedication to him around the world. So when his energy shows up, it's strong, it's grounded. For me, it feels unmistakable. You might feel warm or a shift in the pressure or sudden calm that kind of clears a little bit of fog for you. So, yeah, Michael isn't just a gentle presence in the background. He is the angel to call on when you need truth or clarity or courage or serious support. Any version of like wanting to feel protected or supported. He's a warrior, a healer, a messenger of mercy. And this is just the beginning of who Archangel Michael is. So I want to talk a little bit more about what he is known for and then how we can ask him for help or work with him in our lives. So now that you know where the idea of Archangel Michael comes from, I want to tell you a little bit more about what he is like actually known for. And like we were just talking about, he has a serious spiritual resume. He's not just a background figure with a sword. He has distinct roles and specialties that make him one of the most called upon archangels across time. He is known for protection as a big one. I will say, from my personal perspective, and everyone's free to have their own perspective, I do feel like often religious systems serve this very fear-based attitude or energy as part of the system. And so I can understand why he is used as such a protector, particularly as it pertains to religious beliefs, just because if there is a force that you are needing to be fearful of all the time, then certainly you need a protector. But I find that his power actually is best used not so much for like imaginary evil forces, but for things that are real in our lives. When we feel unsafe, when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel energetically vulnerable, he is the angels that many practitioners and sensitives turn to when they need to clear their own energy, to do cord cutting, or to create really strong boundaries boundaries. If you've ever said, please surround me with white light, that is likely going to be Archangel Michael. That is some very Archangel Michael energy. I'll talk about this more as we go, but when I do my energetic container, which I do, I set up the energy of any space that I'm going to work in, live in, generally be in. I invite Archangel Michael to, it's like the topper, like a tree topper almost, if you do Christmas trees. And I invite him to kind of hold the energy of the whole entire container that I have created. So he is certainly, like I said at the top, the big guns. And even though he's known as the ultimate protector, it doesn't mean that we can't have a soft, interactive relationship with him. I want to talk just a little bit more about cord cutting and releasing attachments, because one of his specialties is helping us cut energetic cords to things that are draining us, no longer aligned with us, whether it's an unhealthy relationship or a fear or a past version of ourselves, or just like a lingering kind of low vibrational connection that we haven't let go of. Inviting Archangel Michael in to do healing in your space, most people describe feeling lighter, clearer, sometimes having an emotional shift after working with him in this way. Some people think of him as like a spiritual surgeon, but with love. He's really incredible for helping support us through challenges and hard times. But as you know, I'm always beating this drum here. It doesn't mean that we don't have work to do as part of this. Sword's not a magic wand, but he is going to come in and help, and maybe even highlight things to you that you can change or shift or work on in the behavior or in the emotion to really clear up or clean up these situations in life that you're calling him in for. He is also incredible for working with us around anything to do with courage, truth, clarity. Archangel Michael is known for helping us stand in our truth, speak up when we're scared. I often think of him as like champion of the underdog. He helps us to take aligned action, even if it's uncomfortable. You just have to call him in and ask for his help, give him permission to help you. He brings clear-headedness, inner strength. If you've ever felt like you're like pulling your strength up from your socks, that's a great opportunity to call in Archangel Michael. Spiritual bravery. If you're developing any spiritual gifts and you're feeling insecure or nervous, he can help bolster you in that work. He's the one to call on when you're about to have a tough conversation, when you need to make a decision, but you feel like fear is clouding your judgment a little bit, when you feel like you're stepping into something bigger or more of your purpose, but you're feeling like wobbly or insecure. Archangel Michael can really help cut through the noise and bring you back to what matters. I'm going to talk a little bit more when we talk about how Archangel Michael can help you. I'm going to share one of my most powerful and very simple tools that I have used with Archangel Michael for years and years. But some of the other things he can help you with is clearing negative or unwanted energy, like a spiritual deep clean. And again, I don't mean like goblins that you don't see hanging out in your corners like cobwebs. That is not what I mean. But human emotion and human energy can create like residual energy in a space. And sometimes we just want to do energetic space clearing. We have done an episode for that in the past, but if you want another one, let me know. We could do a refresh. Many people experience or invite Archangel Michael in a way that kind of like sweeps the space energetically, just clearing residual heaviness, protecting from, invite him in for protection rituals, healing circles where we want like a strong, grounded energy. That's Archangel Michael. And you can ask him to shine his white light and just kind of like energetically clear out any space that you're in. I do it even in hotels. I'll be doing it in my upcoming travel. He also is wonderful at helping us with direct guidance and strength in times of transition. He might not always show up with like poetic messages, but his guidance is clear and direct and often very pointed or focused. He is not a sugarcoater. He tends to help us see the truth, sometimes helps us see our own power, and helps us take the next step if we're willing. And remember, these archangels are loving. So he's not going to like push you out of your comfort zone, but he is going to stand there and hold a boundary and support you in taking the next step, especially if it's uncomfortable for you. And often people after working with him report feeling like a strong inner knowing, like they know what they have to do next, a deep sense of being backed up or held steady in some way, and even sometimes feel like he's giving them like that extra ounce of courage to move forward. So, if you are feeling stuck or afraid or energetically drained or just in need of a boost of your inner strength or confidence, Archangel Michael can show up as like a really clear, strong ally. He protects us and helps clear the path before us and strengthens us and reminds us that we're not alone and truth is sacred, right? Okay, let me take a little more of this coffee. Okay, so what can Archangel Michael help you with as an individual? So now that you know a little bit more about what Michael is all about, let's talk about how he can actually help and apply in your own life. Where does he show up? When should you call him? The first one I want to give you is when you need protection. And again, not from spooky goblins, physical protection, emotional protection, energetic protection. I will say, as a small asterisk here, a little caveat, we are responsible for our free will choices. So if you are venturing down dark alleys, yes, Archangel Michael can protect you to a degree, but we are responsible for not making dangerous choices as part of this. So just want to throw that in there. But if you're walking into a situation that feels off or feels draining or just feels energetically heavy, you can call in Archangel Michael. And when I say call in, it's just an energetic, like a request from your heart. Just thinking of Archangel Michael, you could invite him, with words in your mind. Archangel Michael, please come and support me now in my highest and greatest good. It could be as simple as that. It could just be like a thought with no words inviting him in. So it's not like a big ceremony you have to do. Even if you are traveling or working with difficult people or feeling like exposed or overly sensitive, Michael's the one to call on. And you can literally just ask, Michael, surround me in your white light, keep me safe, guide me, walk beside me, whatever you like. It's a really simple but powerful way to work with him. Okay, so another wonderful time to call in Archangel Michael is when it is time to do any version of cord cutting. Whether you are kind of working on closing out a relationship or a habit that you're releasing, or you're leaving a job, or you want to leave a fear behind, or just kind of like a lingering energetic tie or feeling that's no longer serving you, even if it's like after a family barbecue and you just want to do a little clean out. Archangel Michael can help clear and really uses so much love and strength in the way he supports, not from a place of anger or avoidance, but with courage and clarity, and can really help us continue forward in releasing something that's hard for us. Because even, let's just take relationship, for example, even when we know a relationship isn't serving us or isn't in alignment with us, it doesn't mean it's always easy to exit that relationship or even clear up all the energy or the connections. It's why so frequently people will say like, oh, my ex is reaching out to me. Well, there's a window open in the energy somewhere then. So Archangel Michael can really help with that. Call him in when you're ready to let go of something heavy or need some help to follow through, or just want to kind of let's just say you've been working on releasing a habit, right? And you're going to do a 30-day program, or just put yourself on a 30-day calendar to like really take action to release this habit that you're wanting to release. Archangel Michael can support you with all of that and can support you each day with kind of clearing out any of the residual energy of that habit from the space that you've grown. So maybe you grew a little bit in that day. Maybe you challenged yourself and really stuck in there and didn't engage in this habit for that day. And maybe some emotions even came to your mind around why this habit is a challenge for you, let's just say. Well, Archangel Michael can come in and can help heal the growth that you've had in that day. And then when you're moving on to the next day, he can help guide you and give you strength and walk beside you. I mean, you're still going to be responsible for choosing or not choosing that habit, but he can help with the growth and the clearing in the meantime. So hopefully that starts to make sense of one of the ways you can invite him to work with you. I will also say he's incredibly helpful when you are facing a big decision or like a scary leap. Sometimes we are taking baby steps through our next phase, like into our next chapter. Sometimes we're taking big, scary leaps. And Archangel Michael is the archangel that is aligned with like aligned action for us. So he helps cut through any static or fear so you can move forward with more confidence. And again, it's not to say that you're not going to feel uncomfortable stepping out of your comfort zone, but just gives you that little bump of confidence or trust or capability to go just a little bit more, is the way I want to say it. You don't need to have all the answers. Just ask him to walk beside you and help you take the next steps and support you. That is really incredible when you're taking a big leap. He can help you so much when you feel powerless or afraid, because sometimes fear isn't loud. Sometimes it's this low level, quiet thing in the background for us, right? It's almost like it just diffuses our energy to take action. And it's not, like a paralyzing fear that we're so aware of, but it's that little thing that says, just push it off till tomorrow. You don't got to do that today. You don't have to make that call, right? So Archangel Michael's energy is stabilizing and empowering. We were talking about how grounded he is. He helps you remember that you have a say in how you show up, that you're stronger than you think, that you are protected and powerful, and that you are able to go forward that next little bit, right? When you are doing your space clearing, like we were talking about with cord cutting, he can also help you do a home clearing. Whether you have just had guests and you want to just reset the energy, I also do an energetic clearing of my house, typically seasonally, like as the seasons change, just like you might do like a spring cleaning. I also will do an energy cleaning. And sometimes I am inviting Archangel Michael in to do that as like a co-clearer. So he can just be your teammate in clearing the energy of your space, your office, your car, yourself. His presence really supports releasing any like stagnant, I don't love the word negative, but like not the most positive energy or uninvited energy. So he really anchors us into that love and that light. The other way that this is the one I promised you that I really love to work with Archangel Michael, that I find is for me one of the most powerful ways to invite him to help you and share his energy with you. If you are doing anything that is like a court case or a fact finding, or you are in a meeting where you really need to know the truth. Maybe you are in a sales presentation and someone is selling something to you. Maybe you are in a situation like a mediation where you really need to know like what is true here. Archangel Michael, because at the beginning, remember, we were talking about how connected he is to divine truth and to that white light of God or source energy or higher power or whatever word you like in there. So you can ask Archangel Michael to shine his white light of truth. And the way I do it is I just, just like we were talking about, you just send a thought from your mind or your heart. Archangel Michael, please come in, shine your white light of truth. Let all the truth rise to the light, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and shine the light on everyone involved. I'm not going to go into super detail about this, but some of you know that if you've ever heard my personal story, I had a really rough, like more than how many years was it? Like 14-year long on and off custody battle and court battle. And once I started learning these tools, I started calling Archangel Michael in to shine the white light of truth, and lots of truth came to light. I'll say it that way. And I've shared this tool with so many people over the years, and so much truth comes to light. It's just like if you imagine like you're looking for something in a walk-in closet, let's just say, and there's, nooks and crannies and shadows. And if you shined like the brightest light and you could see every speck of dust, everything in there, it's sort of like that. And truth has to rise to the light, right? Because when Archangel Michael shines that white light of truth, of wisdom, of like divine truth, anything that is not like the light, right, does not match that energy of the light, has to reveal itself. Cannot, darkness cannot stand in the light, right? Just think about like if you have a shadow, like your own shadow, and you light up that whole space, the shadow's gone. And our shadows aren't dark, you know what I mean? But it's just this understanding, even if you are like reading a contract, let's just say, maybe you're buying or selling a home, maybe you are looking at an opportunity or a job contract, call on Archangel Michael, ask him to shine his white light of truth all over this contract and help the truth rise to the light, right? And it can be truth that is messy truth. It can be something someone's trying to hide. I have had people blurt out things as part of this working with Archangel Michael. I have had things that were not supposed to be seen or shown become seen or shown. I have had so many just little interesting ways that this has worked that I really encourage you to use it however you can. I'm going to give you a couple more ideas here just because this is such a powerful tool. And I would love for you to get to play with it in your day to day life in easy ways, just so you can see how powerful it is. And of course, all of this, like we do get to build relationships with these archangels, these guides, with whoever we want. We don't just, or we should consider not just calling them in when it's like an emergency red alert. Maybe you can sit with Archangel Michael in meditation, get to know him a little bit, ask him to walk beside you in the day to day. But let's just say you have to take your car into the shop and you don't know exactly what the problem is. You can ask Archangel Michael to work with this mechanic and shine the light of truth through your car so that your car will reveal what's going on. I do this anytime I have a doctor's appointment, a scan, a blood test. I've had to have the testing done where you do the contrast dye, where they put the dye in your body and then you go into that tube CT scan and they scan you, and then the dye is supposed to highlight any problems that they need to know about. And so any type of like medical test, I call in Archangel Michael and ask him to shine his white light of truth on my body. I ask him to help my body show what is wrong or what needs to be addressed. I've done it for dental visits. There really is a limitless number of ways that this can apply. I've done it in meetings when I knew the other person was withholding truth. I've done it when I've gone to like school meetings for my kids. I've done it when I've had conversations with not just my kids, but definitely them and other people where I just want truth to come to light. And remember, sometimes it will be like a very overt blurting out of a truthful piece of information or revealing that something is not true. Other times it's Archangel Michael working within you, just nudging, just saying like, okay, that thing they just said, for some reason, it's sticking out to me in this conversation. You guys may have heard me say this before. I used to have a friend that says, it hangs a little lower in the air, one statement, right? Your awareness is just drawn to like one thing they said in the meeting or the conversation that you just want to pull that thread and look a little more deeply into. It could even be just, say you're going over some documents with someone and you ask Archangel Michael to shine that white light of truth, and maybe nothing pops out at you necessarily in the meeting, but then there's just one area of the contract that you just keep feeling drawn to, or feeling like, I just don't understand something here. Can we go over this again? Can I ask some questions? He can also kind of help formulate questions in your mind. So sometimes you might just have a question pop in of like, oh, actually, why is this like this and not like this? Let's just say. So there's so many ways that the truth can come to light. It's pretty incredible. Okay, so that is my very best favorite way to work with Archangel Michael. And I've even had it when I know someone is not telling me something, or when I can't find something very important. Sometimes I will ask him to shine the light of truth. I typically use Shamuel for lost things, but if it's just something that I need to know, like, was it stolen or is it just missing, right? So that's my very best favorite way. You can call him in your mind, not out loud. You can call him out loud if you want, and just imagine him in the room or moving into the space. I'm going to talk a little bit next about the color associated with him and the stones associated with him, because I think that really helps you get a more complete kind of visual, internal, subjective, like imaginary visual of him, or how you can sense him. Color is so important. And Archangel Michael, like the other archangels, tend to carry kind of a signature color or tone. Archangel Michael's, you probably already know what it is because he's often seen with it. The color that is most often associated with Archangel Michael is like a deep royal blue. Sometimes it is like edged or streaks of like gold or silver or white light in that blue, but it is like a really rich, beautiful, deep tones and shades of blue. Blue is about communication in all of its forms, and he is, of course, the best communicator. So many people describe the color kind of like the deep ocean, or that's the sky when it's still a little bit light right after the sunset, when it's like that deep, rich blue. And that the edges that I talked about of his field, kind of with the gold twinges or metallic shimmer, it can be through, it can be around, it can be just a sense of it. It can be like a little flash of light, a kind of like lightning. He's often thought of with like lightning bolt, truth lightning, truth lighting up in your awareness, right? And I also see him with a white spotlight. So how I was talking about shine your white light of truth, right? So I sometimes will see his sword as like a light illuminating everything. Sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's silver, but for me, it's mostly white or that deep, beautiful blue. And you might notice these colors during meditation, during energy work, during dreams, or even randomly, like in your physical environment or life. Someone might gift you something. Actually, I have a mug right here in my desk that I'm looking at that someone gifted me, and it is handmade and it is the most beautiful, deep blue. That is a hello from Archangel Michael, inspiring that person to choose that. So if deep blue keeps showing up around you, especially when you're crying out from your heart for guidance or support, don't be surprised if it's Archangel Michael saying, hey. And there's so many stones and crystals we can use to help work with Archangel Michael. And remember, you don't have to do it this way. It's just an extra fun element, a representation, something to remind you. If you love working with stones, that's wonderful, but you don't have to. So don't feel like you've got to go run out and buy some special stones. You could even take a regular rock from outside and paint it blue with some little gold streaks if you wanted to, and it would work just as well. So think of like the blue tone gemstones. Lapis is a really beautiful, deep blue, powerful stone, often linked to truth, protection, connecting with divine wisdom. That's a beautiful stone to work with Archangel Michael. Sodalite is another beautiful stone that is sometimes blue. Helps with clarity, grounding, communication, intuitive insights. Sugarlight is less common. It's kind of a purplish hued blue stone that carries a very strong frequency for spiritual protection, for strength, especially if you're very energetically sensitive. Azurite is a deep indigo and helps with insights and mental clarity. It is great for meditation, for inner work when you're calling on Michael. I also really love, I have a big stone in the office that you can't see, and I'm not going to go grab it because it's pretty big. It's angelite or celestite. It's a lighter blue, but it's has sometimes white inclusions, and that's a really beautiful stone. And also kyanite. Kyanite, what to be careful with because it's a very splintery stone. I've seen it in lighter qualities of blue and darker qualities of blue. It does look kind of like you can see the scales of it when you hold a little piece of kyanite. You can almost see the almost like fish scales, like layers of the way the stone is formed and created. There are tumbled versions of it, but just be careful with kyanite. It's an incredibly powerful psychic stone. I actually used to wear little pieces of it when I first started in this work to request Archangel Michael around me and for hopefully deeper psychic connection. None of these things work like a magic wand. I'm here to tell you, I've definitely tried and they don't. But it's a lovely way to remind yourself to call in Archangel Michael or to support the work that you're doing. You don't need crystals to work with Archangel Michael, if I haven't said it clearly enough, but they can be helpful anchors. And you can, hold one, you can keep it in your pocket, you could keep it on your desk or altar space. I have some things on my desk that people would never know what they are or what they represent. So it can be personal and private just for you. And it could even be just a little touchstone that you keep, like I said, in your pocket or on your desk somewhere. Now, how might you feel or recognize Michael's presence? How do you know if he's actually showing up? Well, everyone's experience is a little different, of course, because we're all different. And even throughout your journey, your experience might be different at different times, but some common signs and sensations that people report when Archangel Michael is near. Sometimes people will feel a sudden shift in the room. It might feel cooler or clearer, or like someone just opened a window when no one did. There could be a noticeable like stillness or calm or groundedness or strength that kind of fills the space. It's very subtle, so you'd have to be energetically sensitive to be aware of it. Some people feel a wave of courage or calm. You might, if you call in Archangel Michael to work with you, you might suddenly feel stronger or more grounded or more certain, less alone. Even if you weren't feeling really anxious, you might be able to notice just a softening of your energy. Some people describe it as like a spine straightening energy where you just want to like stand taller, stand in your truth, stand in your power. Some people report feeling a little bit more mental clarity, like thoughts that felt tangled or chaotic can just kind of suddenly calm, or you just have one answer or one of the options that you're thinking about rise to the top as like to consider a little differently. Archangel Michael often brings simple, bold clarity, kind of like cutting through the fog. Sometimes for some people, you might feel repeated nudges. I've had some people tell me that they see kind of like flashes of deep blue or gold light kind of out of the corner of their eye, very mild flashes. And sometimes people have reported kind of hearing the name Michael or noticing in their life around them more visual experiences of like swords or shields or justice themed, like the scales of justice. Again, it could even be like on a statue or on a building that you never noticed before. You might get a lyric or a headline or a phrase that just kind of hits like a clear message. Some people feel physical tingles. For me, he is a very grounded, calm, strong, but gentle presence at the same time, which I know sounds a little contradictory. For me, it's just, I am aware of him with the blue and the colors like I was talking about. And I do just feel him so grounded and strong and supportive. It's just like anything when we talk about building these relationships, the more you build the relationship with him, the more you will recognize him when you call him in or when he shows up. And just know anytime you're calling him in, he's showing up because that is the agreement. So you might feel tingles or sensations in your physical body. You might just get a knowing. But again, that can also change with time. So the first time you invite him into meditation and sit with his energy and work with him, you might feel it one way. And then over time, as you get more comfortable, as you build more of a relationship with him, it might be more subtle or less subtle. I do find things tend to go more and more subtle as we go though, but his energy is always loving. It's always stabilizing, supportive, powerful. When you feel him, you just know you're not alone and you're stronger than you realize. So I really hope that you will start thinking about crafting your own relationship with Archangel Michael. He is available to everyone. You don't have to subscribe to any faith system or practice any specific religious practice. It is wonderful to kind of invite him into your day, invite him to be with you throughout the day so you can kind of feel for him just in your energy field, say hello to him throughout the day. And I really hope you will use that tool about Archangel Michael shining his white light of truth and understanding, because for me, I feel like that has been one of the most profound ways that I have worked with Archangel Michael. But of course, he can be like a big brother, like a best friend, where it's just nice to know that you are supported, that you are not alone, that you have this incredible, strong kind of captain of the angels, if you will. He's kind of a rock star, but he's like the most humble, sweet, calm, kind version of a rock star. I'll say it that way. Angels don't have ego and they are here to support humanity. And they have this incredible, compassionate, kind love for us, even when we're messing up, even when we're not the most aligned version of ourselves, or even when we're not making choices that are the highest and greatest for us. They don't have judgment for us. They do have lots of support and encouragement. And Archangel Michael is one of the most powerful supporters. So hopefully this has kind of piqued your curiosity or taught you a little bit more about an archangel that perhaps you already know pretty well. Let me know if this episode resonated with you. Let me know if you try that tool, Archangel Michael shining that white light of truth. I would love to hear what happens or what is revealed to you. And again, remember, it can be someone blurting something right out of their face or telling you the truth about something that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person's telling me the truth about this right now. But it can also be very subtle, just in your own awareness that like something feels off about this right now. Let me look here a little deeper. Let me just take some more time with this. I don't feel like I want to decide right now. So it can be these very soft or much more subtle ways of receiving this truth or clarity. So let me know how it shows up for you. I hope you have liked this Archangel episode, and I'm so happy that I'm finally getting to share it with you guys. Next week on the pod, for those of you that have been asking, I will have the Bali prep episode just because I want to release it the day that I'm going to be flying out. So I kind of want to take you guys on this journey with me, and we will talk all about the prep I've been doing and the prep I have not been doing and what the plan is, and some energetic kind of messages that I've already received about the trip, and I'm so excited to share them. So I hope you will tune in for that. Hugs, lots of love. Bye for now from inside Spirit Speak.